the past few hours have been nothing but pain to me. I've had to play one of the worst franchises of all time that only lasted a few
So it
years.
looks
On
like you've
top of
had
that,
to
I had to
review
watch this
Bugsy,
really,
eh?
really awful cartoon that was such a waste of my time and also a waste of
Do you
everyone's
even
time.
know that
I
I'm
couldn't
here?
believe that this stupid bobcat actually managed to get so many reviews and
Hello? Do you
so many
even know
praise.
I'm
Oh,
here, you
the past few hours
simply?
have been nothing but pain and I've had to put up with so much of this crap.
Forget it, I'm out of here. Today's been one of the most painful days I've ever had to sit through. Now, truth be told, I've been through many painful things, like watching Norm of the North or Chicken Little. But when it comes to video games, no video game franchise has pissed me off as much as the one I've had to put up with today. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of the most polarizing video game franchises of all time, Bubsy. Please help me. Now, for all you lucky bastards out there that don't seem to recall who Bubsy is, let me tell you. Bubsy was a video game mascot that was made in the 90s to rival against Mario and Sonic, and while those two franchises became really successful, Bubsy died a few years after his first game was released. Accolade, the company that actually made Bubsy, was aiming to give Bubsy more of a personality compared to Mario and Sonic. And let me just say this right now, every game will have Bubsy saying stupid things filled with stupid puns, and it's gonna be really insufferable to put up with.
What could possibly go wrong?
Ugh, I've had to put up with that catchphrase for the past 5 hours. The more I hear it, the closer I'm going to get to getting angry, but we'll see. Anyway, we might as well start things off with the very first Bubsy game in the franchise, Bubsy, Claws Encounters of the Third Kind. Now, what kind of title is that? Now, Bubsy doesn't really have much of a plot. I guess what I could follow is that it's about these aliens known as woolies. What? And Bubsy has to stop them because they took all the wool on Earth. Seriously, why do they need all the wool? I shouldn't be questioning it. Bubsy's stupid enough as it is. Let's just start the gameplay. Oh look, you start off with 9 lives in the game. I don't know whether saying this angered me because Bubsy has 9 lives to prepare you for what this game has to offer, or the fact that saying the words 9 lives reminds me of that awful movie. No, I'm not reviewing it, so shut up. Now, since this is a 2D platformer, Bubsy has many of the moves that you would expect from someone like Mario or Sonic. He can jump around, stomp on enemies, and he can even glide in the air! Yeah, because that makes sense. A fucking cat gliding through the air. How does this make any sense? They don't really explain how Bubsy's able to glide, but okay, he can glide now. Let's just continue. So yeah, Bubsy has pretty much what you would expect from something like Mario. There are enemies to stomp on, there are collectibles to collect, and okay, I'm just gonna pause it right here. For some strange reason, when you get 100 of these collectibles, you don't get an extra life. Well, I guess that gives me less trouble playing this game, doesn't it? But yeah, like I said, Bubsy pretty much looks like Mario, but here's the thing. Bubsy doesn't control like Mario. No, it controls more like Sonic for some reason. I'd be fine with Bubsy playing like Sonic, but the level design does not fit the controls at all. Since you move like Sonic, everything is so floaty in this game, and chances are you're probably going to end up running into something. And that's one of the game's worst aspects. Bubsy has no health. He has Crash Bandicoot-esque syndrome. If you take one hit, you will die. And unfortunately, there are no power-ups in the game that give you more hit points. You're stuck with one, and if you die, then you're booted back to the last checkpoint. Ugh, what a catastrophe. I will say what's worse though, a gumball machine killed me in this game. A fucking gumball machine.
And don't forget, kids, to come down to our local fair and try our special gumballs that kill you because they're fun.
Most of the time, I'm just trying to play this game safe. I only jumped throughout this game, and I was trying so careful to not get hit by something because if I ran too fast, I'd probably run into something and die. But that then leads to one of the other major issues I have with this game, and that's how close the camera is to Bubsy. Every time you go so fast, you'll only have a split second to react to something before you get hit. And since the camera is so close, it's almost hard to tell what's actually about. Oh, that's just wonderful. You killed me as soon as you showed up. Catastrophic. But also adding to the fact that Bubsy jumps so goddamn high, it's almost hard to tell exactly where you're going to land. And like I said, because of fall damage, you're most likely going to die from that as well. Or, you know, jumping right in front of an enemy. I guess if there's one positive thing I can say about Bubbsy is that some of the soundtrack is actually kinda catchy, but I think that was only for the first few levels. Most of my mind was set on the gameplay, and it got so much worse as I continued playing. The actual design of these levels is bland, and there's nothing interesting that stands out about them. I think there was also boss fights in this game, but I barely remember them, and from what I could remember, they were just Dr. Robotnik wannabes. Come on, you just... Ugh! Oh look, I got a game over. Well, it's about time, because I'm fucking done with this game. I wouldn't have had many problems with playing Bubbsy if the camera wasn't so goddamn zoomed in on him, and if the control actually played like a Mario game. And because Bubbsy only has one hit point, you're going to be dying a lot, and chances are, you'll see this screen so many times. Oh, and you'll see this, and Bubbsy never shuts up.
What could possibly go wrong?
Stop saying that. It's only making me more angry. Bubbsy may not be one of the worst video games of all time, but I can safely say that out of all the video games I've ever played, I did not have any fun with this one. But before we move on to Bubbsy 2, unfortunately we have to review this. Bubbsy had a cartoon. I mean, it's a cartoon. How bad could it possibly be?
What could possibly go wrong?
I rest my case. Yeah, I don't know how this fucker managed to get a cartoon, but it was originally meant to be part of a TV show. Unsurprisingly, Bubbsy was never picked up for a TV show, and when you watch this pilot, you'll begin to understand why. This is one of the absolute worst cartoons I have ever seen in my entire life. Every single character is so goddamn annoying, the plot doesn't make sense, and everyone never shuts up. You wanna know what's even more shocking? They got Paulsen, yes, the Paulsen, to do the voice of Bubbsy. And he ended up saying later that this was one of the worst roles he's ever done. I shouldn't be surprised.
What could possibly go wrong?
Just stop. Please, just turn it off. Turn it off. Thank God. I know I would have said more about the Bubbsy cartoon, but many other YouTubers already have. Instead, we're just going to move straight ahead to Bubbsy 2. Now, I couldn't actually find any detail if Bubbsy actually managed to sell enough copies for them to make a sequel, but they still did it, and that means there's more pain for me to sit through. This is the title screen. I don't even know what the hell is going on.
I like it.
Like what? That? This isn't entertaining. Now, Bubbsy 2 pretty much plays about the same as the first game. However, there is one thing that they actually managed to fix in this game. The hit system. Bubbsy can get hit up to 3 times before he dies, and if that's one thing that I can appreciate, is that they tried to fix one of the many issues that I had with Bubbsy 1. Unfortunately, that's the only issue they fixed, because most of the issues I have with Bubbsy is still here. The camera's still too close, and every single time I see an enemy, I'm more often than not going to get hit by it. But Bubbsy 2 has some new power-ups to offer. In fact, you can get a Nerf gun to take down enemies. A Nerf gun. Dude, that thing is so powerful. What are we gonna do? There's only one thing we can use to take it down. A Nerf gun! I guess another thing which I kinda like about Bubbsy 2 is that there are these special mini-games that you can play, and if you win them, you win extra lives. I know the game still starts you off with 9 lives, but if you're still gonna play this game, you might as well play those bonus stages, because they do give you extra lives, and I guess that does make the game easier. I'm actually kinda proud of that. The level design in this game isn't as bad as the first one, but unfortunately, it's still not that good. I'd say if they fixed many of the issues I had with Bubbsy 1, as well as adding what they fixed in Bubbsy 2, I think we would have actually had a much better Bubbsy game. Bubbsy 2 is still better than Bubbsy 1, I can say that right now. It's still not a very good game. Most of the problems are still here and accounted for, and while there are still things that I like about this game, it's still not that good. But now that we're done with Bubbsy 2, it's time to move on to one of the worst games ever. Hold on, Yoshi player. You haven't reviewed the Jaguar game yet. Wait, Bubbsy had a game for the Jaguar? What the fuck is a Jaguar? You don't know what a Jaguar is? No. Well, if you don't know, I might as well give it to you. Oh, great. Now I'm playing Bubbsy on the Jaguar. I still don't have much information about how this happened, but alright then, we have another Bubbsy game to review, so let's take a look at it. I had no idea what a Jaguar system was, but then when I found out there was a Bubsy game for it, I had to play it. The game is called Bubsy Fractured Fairy Tale. It's basically Bubsy 1, but the levels are so big. Because of that, some of these levels can either take minutes or hours to complete because you'll have no idea where you're going because these levels are so goddamn huge. And like I said, because most of the problems with Bubsy 1 are here, that means we have a much worse game than Bubsy 1. To think that they actually made a game worse than Bubsy 1, and that it's the third game in the franchise. Most video games have really good third games. Mario Bros. 3 was a great game. Sonic 3 was a fantastic game. But Bubsy 3? Nope, not a good game. It's actually worse than the first one, and I didn't think they'd manage to do that.
What could possibly go wrong?
Garrett, stop saying... Okay, calm down, calm down. But it turns out there's worse than that. They made a game worse than all of the Bubsy games. It's one of the worst 3D platformers I have ever played in my entire life. The next game, and the last Bubsy game to ever be released, Bubsy 3D. I've been waiting for this moment. Shut up. Oh, I'll shut up, alright, just so I can sit back, eat my popcorn, and watch you suffer with this game. So, Bubsy 3D, a game released for the PlayStation 1, a system that I love so much. So when I heard that there was going to be a Bubsy game for this thing, I knew I had to check it out. What the fuck? Wait, I thought we were playing a PS1 game. What kind of backgrounds are these? Oh, this is only the beginning of so many issues I have with Bubsy 3D. Let's talk about those backgrounds for just a second. What the fuck is this? This game was released for the PlayStation 1, 2 months after Crash Bandicoot, another game that was released for the PS1, and that game is a million times better. Oh please, Crash Bandicoot sucks compared to Bubsy 3D. I thought you were gonna be quiet. Nah, I only wanted to say something just to piss you off.
Will you get back to being quiet?
Ah, there goes the demon. I really fucking hate you right now. Ah, Yoshi player, I know how much you love Bubsy 3D. Okay, look, I know I can't be too angry at Bubsy 3D since the developers didn't really have much experience with 3D platformers, but what does that matter? They released this game to the public, I'm gonna judge it by what it is. Believe me when I say this, the backgrounds are only the minority of what I hate about Bubsy 3D. Bubsy controls like a tank, and you know, I don't mind if games have tank controls if they were designed around it. I played a game called Future Cup, and that game is fucking awesome. The controls felt like tank controls, and they worked, but with Bubsy 3D, it controls like a tank, and since this is a wide open 3D platformer, this game plays like a fucking nightmare. Bubsy is so hard to move in this game, and sometimes even when I'm trying to press a button, it seems like Bubsy's gonna actually take a while to move. And like I said, the camera is once again a huge problem with this game. You can't turn this thing, and the only time it moves is when you jump. While I understand the camera moves this way so they can give you a better view of the ground, it just gets really distracting, and most of the time it can give me a headache. What I also really hate about Bubsy 3D is that these platforms have no shadows. Most of the time I'm trying to jump somewhere, but it turns out when I jump, it was actually further than what I thought it was originally going to be. There's no shadows in this game, and no kind of textures to let you know how far away an object is meant to be. Ugh, this game is such a Okay, I'll stop. I already said that joke. I'm only kidding. The soundtrack in this game is absolute garbage. I haven't talked much about the soundtrack in the previous games with the exception of the first one, but I will say this right now. Bubsy 3D has one of the worst soundtracks I have ever heard. This isn't even music. It sounds like someone's trying to drum on something with whatever they can use. I'd rather listen to Crazy Frog for 3 hours straight rather than listen to what kind of music this is meant to be. Also, Rob Paulsen did not return to voice Bubsy, and what we have instead is a voice that's even more annoying than Bubsy's original voice.
Oh, look! An arrow! Aren't these game designers wonderful?
Now, I played Bubsy 3D for about 4 levels straight before I decided I had enough. That even included me playing the boss fight, and the boss fight in this game is pathetic. What you actually have to do in this game is that you have to glide up top the boss's gun residue in order to fly up and hit him. How does that make sense? The game never told me anything about this. this game does not like to inform you on what works and what doesn't, and that's what causes me to die most of the time, because what this game tries to throw in here is what you think would be a normal 3D platformer, but in reality, Bubsy 3D is one of the worst platforming games I have ever played in my entire life. Scratch that, it's the fucking worst platformer game I've ever played. I've played bad games like Sonic 06 and Spyro Enter the Dragonfly, but those games still offered fun to me that Bubsy 3D didn't at all. Bubsy 3D is the worst platformer game I've ever played, and I am totally understanding now why this game was the death of Bubsy. Bubsy is a franchise I shall never miss, and I'm so fucking thankful that this fucking Bobcat is dead now. I will not miss playing any of these video games. In fact, after I'm done with this review, I'm going to delete these games off of my system so that I never have to play them ever again. And now I can just go back to playing other games like Crash Bandicoot. I already said that before. Crash Bandicoot's worse than Bubsy 3D. Bubsy 3D is a masterpiece. Will you get out of here? I can tell your only purpose here is just to piss me off. That's my job.
Will you get out of here, you stupid idiot?
Ah, the demon has returned, and so will I. Stupid Ross Trump. Ugh, playing these games was such a chore to go through. I don't even remember how I managed to play these games in the first place. My anger was so focused that I don't even remember who asked me to play these Wait a minute. I just got finished reviewing all the Sonic games for the Genesis, but I'm not really sure what else to review. Can you give me some advice?
Okay, Oh, you should play some of the, best games ever. It even had a cartoon. Bubsy.
Oh yeah, sure, I'll review. Wait, what series did you just say? That motherfucker!
Hey, yes, what's, wait, did you watch Norm again? Nick put you up to it, didn't he?
You made me play all those stupid video games, and now you're going to pay!
Wait, what Oh, I see. Look. In my defense, you chose to play them, so it's your fault as well as mine, but hey, what could possibly go wrong?
I'm gonna kill you!
Where's the Bobcat when you need him? Ah! Float! Ow! Damn it, that Bobcat lied to me. Come on, Yosh! Ow, that was motherfucker! Ow! Stop it!
Video games just
Yosh,
for your own
come on, we
amusement.
can
How
work
could you do
this out.
that? We were
Stupid
best friends. I
motherfucker!
thought you're
That
not
hurt!
maybe
Hey,
torture myself
I tell you,
and play all those
this is
stupid
sit
video
down.
games, and you had to make
Talk
Ross
about it.
Trump
And
want
we'll
to just for his own
stop.
amusement. This is one of
Please,
the
can you
worst
just
days I've ever had to
just
play
listen?
this because you
Just
made me
fucking
play
play
those
stupid
stupid video
games.
games, and I hate those.
Bugsy, the Woolies strike back by accolade.